We're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Real Estate, hosted by yours truly, the bearded men of real estate, and Dan. Say hi, Dan.
By the way, hi, Dan. By the way, I just had this thought. There's all these intricate YouTube intros and well-timed this and that and music and actual video intros.
Right. And then we just wave our hands around.
Hey!
Have you seen Matt LaMarche's show?
No.
He's got like a whole intro thing. Like, here, it's like, I'm not going to do it, but this is kind of what it reminds me of. He's got like music, you know, that's going, and it shows clips of him like going around downtown, like Matt checking his phone.
Like man about the
downtown
town.
Atlanta. Yeah. Matt, man of the people, Matt, man with agents. And then it just kind of fades down and he opens his show. And maybe we should do something like that, I guess.
I mean, 5 years in, maybe we should. Does he go live? I didn't even know he had a show. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, he does.
I need to watch Matt's show. Apparently.
Matt, what's the name of your show?
There's actually no name for it. And
no wonder. I mean, no wonder why.
How am I going to know about it if there's no name?
The Matt Show. I mean, you could at least do that.
That's right. No, there's no real formal name for it. I've just interviewed a bunch of agents from around the country and Canada, and it's been good. Sometimes nameless is better, actually. So you can find it on YouTube.
Welcome to the show with no name. I should make that louder.
If you ever start a cooking show, Matt, you can just call it the Matt LaMarshmallow Show.
Oh, I like that. LaMarshmallow.
Or
a DJ. You could be a DJ and call you LaMarshmallow.
Yeah.
I do want to point out for those of you who are listening to the audio version on Clubhouse, Dan and I are matching. It was unplanned. We just happened to wear the same shirt today, which is cool when that happens.
I mean, not a lot of options. We either have gray. No, we actually have three options. We have the gray or this one or the black one, which is
the black one
we did. The fundraiser we did. Remember?
That's true. Matt is also first on YouTube. He was first in the Clubhouse room. So thanks for joining us there, Matt. If you're watching on YouTube, you can comment and you could drop a comment just like Matt did. And then we could talk about you like we've been doing about Matt, or we can reference and talk about your comment itself. So feel free to participate in the show. I think we're the only live real estate show that even does this. So if you want to shout from the rooftop something about the Fed, this is definitely the place to do it.
This is the time to do it.
It's hard to edit out that stuff live. Matt said he was first, and he says that you should take shots. So he wants to create a shot game today. Take a shot when the beards say inflation, pandy, or builder sentiment. I'm still recovering from last week, so excuse the delay in comments. That's good. And he said, oh, shoot, I maxed out a limit. You maxed out what limit are you talking about? The comment limit?
You can't just go on a diatribe?
YouTube only allows you 200 characters. Yeah.
Oh.
I got to get more concise.
Oh, I didn't know that. By the way, Julie, that's not a bulldog, dude.
She says, thanks for the bulldog, Dan. What kind of mud is that?
That's 3D. That's a pug.
That's a pug. The 3D printed pug.
That's
him. Look at that.
That's Sir 3D and the Mighty Mighty Boom Boom. He passed away. 6 years ago now, but no, that's him right there.
It's hard to see when it's all silver because it's just shiny.
Yeah, no, but it's not a dog. It's a pug. It's a. I can't say that word on.
Matt says, unless you're on 75 hard, don't drink. I am still doing the 75 hard. I'm over 1/3 of the way through now. So I'm on day 20. I just finished day 26. So I'm on day 27 today. This is what you drink. If you're on 75 hard, you just water it all day long.
That's what I do anyway, but I still drink. Is that, we have a French guy?
Hey, you didn't know about Olivier?
No. Hi, buddy. Oh, I did. I can't read his name.
He is Le Cotier.
Le Cotier.
No, wait, hang on. I'm going to try. Le Cotier qui le joue les problèmes. How close am I, Olivier? He is in Clubhouse right now listening to. He said, much better on YT. I get to read Matt's comments. Okay, yeah. So Howard Harold Broadsley is joining us from Israel, too. So international show today. Olivier says, practice your French.
Wait, can I try it real quick?
Yeah. You go.
Le côtier qui résout les problèmes.
That's pretty good, I think.
I mean,
that's pretty close, actually.
I took French in 7th grade, so
yeah. The agent that solves the problems. I love that.
Yeah.
Jeremy James joined us too. Hey guys, thank you all for joining us. Be sure you share the show. You can share it on. So we're testing this on Instagram too.
Wow.
We did one of those little links where you can click from the story. So feel free to just copy the share link and then you can post it in your stories as well. So, but we really appreciate the interaction. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about today. As a matter of fact, I told Dan, I think we have enough articles and stories today for 2 or 3 shows. So we will be going through some of these pretty quickly, unfortunately.
Scap is like surprised. Oh, hey there, fellas.
Oh, hey there. As if he's not in the behind the scenes chat that got the alert an hour ago.
Everything that's going on from an hour ago. Oh, hey guys, this is spontaneous.
Olivier said your French is much better.
It is. I still know the accent from 7th grade, which was 30 lots of years ago.
Matt says late, just like an appraiser. But Jeremy James says Fed rate prediction game. Let's do that. So if you're watching, why don't you? Maybe we can find a prize. I've got some stuff. Maybe we can find a prize. Everyone gets the Fed rate correctly. That may be released during the show. Maybe you'll all get entered into a drawing, but you got to guess it correct. Once you guess it correct, you're entered into a drawing, and then we'll draw for something fun.
And remember, we hinted at this last week. We hinted at what they might do last week based on, was it last week or the week before? We had
2 weeks ago, we had Justin on, right?
We hinted at it.
Or was that last week?
I don't remember. I can't remember yesterday, but we hinted at it based on would they do something. So we kind of talked about this briefly. So there you go.
All right, so we have some comments coming in here. Olivier says 1%. Jeremy James says 0.75 basis points. Matt Lamar says 0.75. Adam Johnson says 0.25.
Ooh.
0.25. Really? I'll tell you, most experts are suggesting a higher increase, but there are some.
I'm going to commit in this game. I'm going with Adam because Adam, he knows his numbers and knows his stuff. He also often has very, very good comments and suggestions. So I'm just going to commit and go on the lower side, 0.25. I like it.
I think it. Howard says between 0 and 100. I think it's going to be 0.75 because I think they're floating the 1 number out there to kind of to scare the market a bit, and then they're going to relieve the market by going 0.75. But if the 0.5 number was out there and then they did a 0.75, it'd freak out the market. So I think that's what they did.
But last time they teased the 0.75 and did 0.75. So now they're going to tease higher and then go, dude, we only are doing 0.25 because remember, we have that article about inflation and there was some mismanagement, we'll say.
Oh, Adam says 1.25. Really?
Oh, geez. Yeah, no.
You gotta rest on one of those.
That's a big one.
Scap thinks it's going to be 0.69. Nice. And then Matt says Mega Millions jackpot is up to 810 million. Nice.
And now that he's mentioned it on our show, it's going to go up to 900 million because people are going to go buy their tickets like crazy now.
That's true. And if you want to skip the banter, you could look down into the description and there's going to be a little timestamp there that tells you when the actual show starts. But Matt Lamar says, if you skip the banter, you're what's wrong with America.
Yes, you are. Tip. Yeah. By the way,
is hoping for 0.25. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that your guess? I mean, this is for a drawing for something real. So
am I part of this drawing or can I just guess?
I don't think we should win. Good. Yeah.
Because that'd be pretty. Hey, Dan and Ray won. So
we won.
But did you see
Olivia we won the drawing on our own show.
Olivia had a good suggestion.
No, what? Where?
He said a signed t-shirt.
Oh, a signed t-shirt? By who?
Yeah, whose signature do you want?
Who do you want? The chairman of the Fed's signature on a t-shirt.
By the way, I'm going to stick with Adam. I'm going to stick with Adam's oops as well. I'm going to just stick.
You're going to go 1.25? Really?
Now I'm higher. Yes. Now I changed just like that.
All right. I'm 0.75. It'd be interesting if they are 1% because that's what happened in Canada.
Yeah.
They went up 100 basis points, 1%. And that may have given the Fed confidence to do that here. But that's one of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to go over the pending home sales. We're going to talk about the top Fed officials saying how they misread inflation. What? What? Mortgage demand declining further, even as interest rates drop a bit. We're going to be talking about, so we have another video. We're not going to play the whole video. We'll play just a couple of pieces of it, but I want to summarize what this guy said. Among all the fear mongering in the entire world, there's a couple of voices of reason. And so they were actually featured on CNBC. So we're going to talk about that. Home price growth slows. Lawrence Yun, what he tells lawmakers, we're going to cover that. Some believe we're inching closer to a recession. And if we get there in time, we're going to talk about mortgage rates rise ahead of the Fed's big announcement. So we'll talk about how those are already priced in there.
If we get to the recession in time,
we'll talk
about it on the show. If the recession happens, we'll cover it live.
There are 10 housing markets that are primed to pop during the recession. We'll hit those. And there are new MLS rules that could kill the future bombshell commission lawsuits that you're already seeing in place in Missouri, and one that's trying to get into 20 markets as a class action lawsuit now. So we'll talk about what those are.
Hey, before I do the intro, I want to hit Clubhouse. We have Deborah Adam May on Clubhouse. You guys always give great info. Thank you.
Oh, thank you,
Scotty. It just says Scotty. I don't have a last name. He says half point, aka 50 basis points. Deborah,
you don't have to AK us, Scotty. We are intellect.
We are, but maybe some of our viewers
we conversate.
Deborah says 6.5, so she's just picking a number, which I think that. And then Andy Rose, and
6.5 is a little high.
He says 1 point. Deborah then clarified 0.35. And she says we will be hitting 7% soon, which I wouldn't disagree with. I've said to many buyers that I think it's going to top out there and then kind of inch its way backwards. I think it'll eventually hit 7. So
cool. All right. So Dan, before we get into all these articles and stuff, Justin Conoco popped by here for just a second and now he's gone. Did anybody see that? Everybody should ping him. Just to everybody go ping.
He's like, oh, dang, they saw me.
Yeah. We saw you, man. Dan, before we get into all these articles, will you tell people what our show is actually all about?
I'd love to. When Ray and I met here on the interwebs, trolling real estate agents. Literally, that's how we met.
That is true.
About 5 years ago. I had an idea for a show because I am, in fact, a bearded man of real estate, which is now This Week in Real Estate, hosted by us. When I met him, I noticed something very interesting about him.
What's that, Dan?
He has never played this game.
I remember this game. What is that game?
So
I haven't played that game. I remember it from the commercial. That's a game I never got.
And we're going to play
always
it.
Wanted the alligator tooth game.
We're going to play it right now live, and it might take 20 minutes. I don't know, but we're going to play it right now. So I'm going to go first.
All right.
I'm out.
Oh, you lost.
I already lost. There you go.
No, so I love board games. I don't know if you know this about me. I love board games. That's a broken game. It just goes down on the first one.
It does.
That's a perfect game for like parents because they're like, let's just play until it goes up. It goes down. Okay, y'all won. So there was that game. You remember Crossfire?
Yeah.
Crossfire.
Legit, dude.
Yeah. So Crossfire was like one of my favorites. But I had all these
bearings. I loved having ball bearings to play with magnets. It was amazing.
Super cool. I mean, we still love ball bearings. Super cool games and stuff. But the alligator tooth game was one that was like, that would be cool to have. And I never got it. I always got too old for that one before we got it. But now I have like cabinets and cabinets of board games and games and stuff.
This sits on my way out when I leave. So I play it with myself or my daughters whenever we leave. Oh, there it goes again.
It's not. This is not for toddlers. It does look like a toddler toy, but it's for those of you listening audio. It's one of those alligator games where you push down the tooth, and if the alligator closes on your finger, you're done.
Yeah.
The pie face game is kind of the same ilk, where you like hit the little thing and.
Yeah, and every time you trigger it, where is it? Every time you trigger it, it resets it. So, oh well, I have all the teeth down. Now it's off. Anyway, I won. Every time you trigger it, then you reset the mouth and it resets itself. But if you want a really fun game, take this with you, Ray. Buy this, take it with you to dinner when you're going to dinner with friends. Have everyone play this game. Whoever gets bitten pays for the bill.
Pays for dinner.
That's a fun game to play.
Take it on your Tinder date. All right. Anyway,
but I digress. But no, I did actually know Ray's never played this game because I don't think a lot of people have. But I noticed he's obviously a beautifully bearded man. But I noticed he also loves giving value up front, not only to his clients, but just to humans in general. So the show's about being more as an agent, but also being more as a human.
Look, and the reason why we do this show is because we believe that there should be some truth in the marketplace. There's a lot of stuff out there. I just saw another one, Grant Cardone, saying, well, if you're one of the buyers that are going to push through and buy in this terrible market to buy, you should wait until next quarter of next week when a lot of sellers give up. I mean, it's easy to be cynical. It's so easy to be cynical to say, oh, no, now's a horrible time to buy. All these real estate agents that made a bunch of money during the uptick, now they're going to be, eating it and they're so terrible and all this. It's easy to be cynical and look at all this stuff. But whenever you look at your actual clients and you're helping them make a decision on where they're going to live, most of the time, it is not a purely investment decision. It isn't them investing in their life type of decision. But if you know what's happening in the world, if you understand what's going on in the economy and you have an honest perspective that you can then share with your client, then they can make the decision that's best for them. And that's our goal. We want to be the place where agents can come, listen to for about an hour, hour and a half, depending on the volume of stories we have. You get an overview of what's happening. You get some ideas about content to share that helps spread the word about this is what's actually going on in the marketplace. Here's the true story behind these numbers and data that make a difference in your life as a consumer. And that's why we do the show. So we appreciate you guys being here for it. We love the conversation. We do it live in order to have conversation because we believe that sometimes having your voices are a lot better than ours, just two guys doing a podcast. I mean, I listen to some podcasts that are really good with just two people, but I think a group effort, creating a podcast like this, having knowledge coming from all different kinds of places is a way better end result. So we really thank you guys. Thanks for sharing the show.
Well, I mean, I've been wrong 1,000 times on this show. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Ray, are you wrapping up? Do you have a couple minutes for?
No, we're just getting started, man. We got a full hour ahead of us right now.
All right.
So,
okay. Just to your point, I wanted to add a point if that's okay.
Yeah, real quick.
Okay, real quick. I have a buyer right now. We're closing tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, depending on the funding. He is getting a rate 2 or 3 times as much as when we started. The mortgage rate is almost like 6%, and then the price is like nowhere where like he started. It's higher, and all these changes. But he's still happily closing. And what I did for him was exactly explain what you said, like what's happening, how it's happening, what's your problem, what is that you are trying to solve, and he is making a clear decision. He knows what's out there, but still he's doing it. So
that's it, man. That's such the key, and that's the thing that we see over and over and over and over. So while the Reddit trolls or YouTube trolls or whatever trolls are out there, and I've trolled with the best of them, I'm with you guys, but while they're out there yelling and shouting from the rooftops, you're an idiot if you think now's a good time to buy. You don't know the person's situation.
Right.
And if you don't buy, you're paying someone else's mortgage every single time. So you might as well figure out how to pay yours if it makes sense. And used to, we would say, if you're going to be in the same spot for 2 to 3 years, probably a good idea to buy. And then that went away when homes were increasing 50% every month. It didn't really matter if you were only going to be there a year. You could buy and then sell and be fine. But now I think we're back to that situation where if you're going to be in the same place for 2 to 3 years, it's probably a better idea to buy. You're probably going to get some more equity out of it. You'll be able to do whatever you want to the home while you're there. So you can improve it. You can make some money as you exit. But hopefully you'll get a good deal on the buy side because of everything that's happening in the economy, which we're about to talk about. You ready, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go. And just like that,
Just
we're
like
in the
that.
headlines.
We are. Way better intro. Whatever Matt's doing, ours is way better.
I know that was pretty good. That was pretty good, Matt. I don't know if you can top it.
The
Hey, Julie
surprise
Moon's down there. I
OMG.
haven't seen Julie Moon in a while.
We're live, and then now that the bloop, it's
we are. All right. So pending home sales.
Oh.
They fell 20% in June versus a year earlier as mortgage rates soared. This article comes to us from CNBC.
They soar though.
I mean, they went up.
They went up a little bit. I mean, they've been.
Hey, look, we've talked about this before. Look at the person on the sign. There's Peggy, everybody. Say hi, Peggy. Peggy's featured on CNBC. You remember my idea was to send in like several pictures of my sign to them saying, hey, guys, feel free to use this. But as we stated last time, my luck, it would be like realtor sued for whatever. And they use my sign.
Hey, guys,
for that one.
Hey, CNBC editors, use this pic whenever you want. I would really appreciate it. Okay, awesome. Negative story.
Yes. All right. So anyway, the signed contracts to purchase existing homes dropped 20% in June compared with the same month about a year ago. That's the National Association of Realtors said Wednesday. That's the slowest pace since September of 2011. Oh,
wait.
With the exception of the first 2 months of the pandy lockdowns, almost said it, when sales plunged briefly and then rebounded sharply. On a monthly basis, pending home sales fell wider than expected, 8.6% in June, month to month. Dow Jones survey of economists have predicted a 1% drop. I misread that. See how I misread it? The steep declines coincided with a sharp jump in mortgage rates. The average 30-year fixed loan crossed over 6% in the middle of June, according to Mortgage News Daily. So this quote is from Lawrence Yun. He's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. He said contract signings to buy a home will keep tumbling down as long as mortgage rates keep climbing, as has happened this year to date. There are indications that mortgage rates may be topping or very close to a cyclical high of July. And if so, pending contracts should also stabilize. So whenever they're saying pending contracts stabilize, it seems like a lot of markets, pending contracts have actually pulled back. So when they're saying there's a stabilization of pending contracts, are they saying that the pullback is going to stop?
Yeah, I wanted to break that down. What does that mean?
I don't know. It's pending contracts should stabilize.
What does that mean?
It seems like in the last month, pending contracts have pulled back. So does that mean that the pullback is going to chill out?
Stabilize from pulling back, meaning more people will, it'll just average you out kind of thing. Is that what it means?
It's kind of a hard, honestly, I didn't fully understand that quote when I read it, and I read several articles around that quote and still don't.
I mean, he's an economist, so he's probably talking in peaks and valleys. So does he mean it'll come back to just kind of a leveling, a plateau?
Yeah, maybe the pendulum has swung.
Yeah.
Here's a quote from George Ratiu. He's the senior economist at Realtor.com. He said, looking ahead, a slowdown in economic activity and pullback in business investments could lead to a moderation in the pace of mortgage rate gains as investors shift allocations toward safety of bonds. Combined with the increase in housing supply, we could see improved opportunities for home buyers later in the year. Not all doom and gloom.
That's what I've been saying to all of my buyers, that things are coming back for you. It's still, I had this conversation this morning with a brand new buyer, which again, it's her situation. Her situation is why she reached out. She didn't say anything about, I was going to buy, but rates are, she didn't say anything about that. Her situation is that she literally said to me, I don't want to go rent and pay someone else's, I want to go see if I can buy right now. But I had that conversation this morning, is that you're going to see, I'm going to set up a search for you, and you're going to see a lot of price drops. That's not value. That's the price, the asking price dropping, but that's going to help you a little bit. So she was excited about it.
Jeremy James says, Dave Ramsey even says now is the time.
Yeah. But he also says, stop with the Starbucks, stop with the dry cleaning. Stop.
I mean, that's one of the things that we've said about the show, right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're in economic turmoil. Hey, do you want to meet at Starbucks later?
Right. Hey, do you want to go pay $5 for a coffee?
Disconnected. Julie Moon says, always seem to have an inspection during this show.
I feel like
that's
that comment
good.
was in bunny ears, in air quotes. I seem to always have an inspection during this show. Like she's being sarcastic. It seems that I always accidentally schedule it at 1 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, if you're going to be sitting around the house, you might as well be sitting around the house listening to the show.
Learning, right?
Which we have replays, and we are on iTunes. So feel free to subscribe to the podcast there and or watch the replays on YouTube.
iTunes is still a thing?
I mean, that's the Apple. That's the Apple podcast is built on the iTunes framework, I think.
I thought it went away.
Maybe.
I'm not an Apple guy. I have no idea.
Oh no.
2. How's it at 2? It's 10 o'clock here when we start.
Is what 2?
She says it's at 2. It's at 2.
The inspection's at 2?
No, is it 2 start time? I'm confused. She's 4 hours ahead of me. How does that happen?
I don't know what you're saying. You know what I do know is that it's hard to understand what you're saying if you misread it.
Well done. Well done.
Top Federal Reserve officials say they misread inflation and now plan to correct the course.
Oops. Sorry, guys.
Wait.
We just affected the lives of millions of people so bad. I'm so sorry.
We misread it? We didn't. And if you guys think I'm lying.
No, go ahead. Show them. It's an actual article.
I'm tigering.
On CNBC.
There it is. On CNBC. They misread. That's the headline.
My bad.
Top officials at the Federal Reserve were seeing inflation data come in very hot for months before policymakers moved to wind down monetary policies that were stimulating the economy. So I guess they're saying that they were late. A chorus of analysts, economists, and former policymakers have chimed in saying that was a mistake.
Yeah, you think?
The Ford guidance overall slowed the response of the Fed to the inflation problem. What? The Ford guidance. So in other words, their predictions.
Yeah.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen also acknowledged that the misdiagnosis coming from her own department and that the current Fed chair and the current Fed chair, Jerome Powell, quote, both of us could have probably used a better word than transitory, she told senators in June when asked about her remarks about inflation last year.
Wait. So they used the word transitory, and everyone that's supposed to be crunching the numbers went, "Oh, dude, it's transitory. I don't need to crunch the numbers right now. I can go to the Bahamas and then come back and crunch the numbers. We're transitory. Right. Everything's just it's cool right now. Don't worry."
Most of the senators that had no idea what that meant was like, well, I mean, that's a woke word, so I'm not going to argue with her. If inflation is going to be high and remain higher, that means that the neutral rate of the economy is also going to be higher because the price of goods are going up. Let's see, the maintaining stable prices and maximizing employment are the Fed's top responsibilities, which we've talked about on the show.
Yeah.
Jobs appear plentiful in the U.S., which may give the central bank cover to raise interest rates an aggressive pace through 2023. The Federal Reserve was contacted for comment, but is in a media blackout before the expected rate announcement later today.
So convenient.
A media blackout.
And if you guys want to know, excuse me, what the Fed does, Ray did a really cool video on it. It's been a month too. It's been a while, but
it's been like a year. It was back when the Fed dropped the rates to 0. People were like, "What's this mean? Is he trying to save the crumbling economy?"
Yeah,
it's like, no. Here's what his job is: maintain full employment and prevent inflation. That's it.
So he has a video there. If you scroll back through, a year
ago. Search Ray Ellen Federal Reserve, and you'll find it.
Or just go scroll through all his videos on Instagram and watch all of them and give him some. There you go.
Don't do that. There's some of those I should delete.
He's regretting his 90 and 30.
I mean, to be honest, we wind up putting. I'm not even close either. I'm like 30 in 25 is what I've gotten so far.
You have 60 videos to go.
I have 60
videos
to do.
You have to do 12 videos a day for the next. So there's this funny audio on I'm sure it's from TikTok, but I see it on Reels, and it says, "Here's how I make $5,000 a day in passive income."
Oh,
I don't.
I
I
don't.
literally don't do that. So you could make one that says, "Here's how
Here's how I make 90
here's how I
videos.
make 12 videos. Here's how I batch 12 videos a day." I don't. I literally don't do that because it's
But I
not
should.
possible.
It's totally possible, and I should have done a better job of it. I didn't do it.
I mean, you're also a pretty busy real estate agent and speaker and helper of humans. And I mean, family man, like you got a lot of things going on.
I got to be able to do it. I mean, it's just more videos. Is all it is, right?
90. But anyway, the Fed totally dropped the ball.
I mean, this is a big deal to say, well, we probably messed up a little bit there. I don't remember a time in history where you had somebody like Greenspan or anyone else going like, well, we kind of botched that a little bit. So now we need to play catch up.
Without a solution. This is just, yeah, we made a mistake. Okay, well, what are you doing? I don't know. We're on a media blackout. Mario's dead.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit more. Let me go to the comments. Oh, there are no more okay. Melissa Mars said the headline should have said whoopsie.
Yeah. Fed says whoops.
That would be funny. All right. Did we mention, by the way, as we're talking about the doom and gloom of the headlines? Well, no, I'm going to save the thumbnail for a little bit later. If you saw the thumbnail coming in, you're rewarded for it at this moment. But keep it in mind as we go to this next article here. Mortgage demand declines further, even as interest rates drop a bit. So this one came out today, Wednesday, July 27th. Mortgage demand edged lower for the fourth straight week, according to data released Wednesday, even though the interest rates have fallen from the recent highs. Total volume was down 1.8% last week from the previous week, according to Mortgage Bankers Association seasonally adjusted index. That's not a huge drop from week to week, but it is a drop. Yeah. Applications to purchase a loan fell 1% for the week. That's not bad.
Statistically, they were pretty flat.
18% lower than the same week a year ago.
That's actually not bad at all. Considering
the same week a year ago, they were like insanely high compared to the previous year, right? Which was insanely high compared to the previous year, right?
Yeah.
That sounded like a repeat, but I was saying that to add effect to the repetitiveness of 2 years of high numbers.
Right. You know, what? So good. You don't need to point out what we knew.
Well, I mean, it was kind of a deep audio moment. If it was literary, you would have seen the same exact thing repeated twice with the same spacing on the page and been like, he's trying to emphasize a point.
You guys ever want to know how Ray's brain works? You just heard a peek inside of how Ray's brain works. There you go.
Now you know. In a world full of chaos, Ray's brain is more chaotic.
Yeah.
More supply is coming into the housing market as competition cools among buyers, but prices and rates are still high, and inflation is weakening consumer confidence. So that's really what it sounds like. And we'll get to this in a second, but it sounds more like it's a mental thing. But there's all these people claiming affordability crisis. I was in a couple of rooms yesterday with some people that love data, and I couldn't argue with some of the things they were saying and the points they were making about maybe a pending crash in housing. We even compared it to The Big Short, and we were talking about The Big Short and what happened then, and if it really is comparable, even though there's several things that are not comparable in the economy itself. It seems like there are some numbers that are starting to line up with The Big Short, including a crazy high price increases and then boom, sudden shut off of the market. Joel Kahn, he's the economist at the Mortgage Bankers Association. He said increased economic uncertainty and prevalent affordability challenges are dissuading households from entering the market, leading to a declining purchase activity that is close to lows last seen on the onset of the pandemic. So that's an interesting quote. Leading to declining purchase activity that is close to lows last seen at the onset of the pandemic. So and this is what we said last week too. It seems like we're returning a little bit to what we were before the pandemic craze.
Right. Normal.
This could be a potential silver lining for the market, he added, as stabilizing mortgage rates and rising inventory may bring buyers back to the market during the second half of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Another one. Now, this is different from the previous quote we read. Another one that says, looking towards the second half of the year.
That's
so
really what I'm sensing and feeling and getting from the lead. How do I say this? The leads types that I'm getting over the last month.
the lead talking heads.
Yes.
All right, let me go to the comments here. Oh, wow. We got no comments on this one either. All right. We'll keep zooming. Anyone in Clubhouse want to drop? What's up, Jan? Julie's in there too. Matt left. Didn't like him anyway.
But Julie's here, so
Julie's here.
We're fine. Everything's fine.
Let me see if I may not have shared the audio. I'm gonna have to reshare my screen for a second here. I want to share a little bit of this video for our next article. Share audio tab. All right, good. Okay, so let's talk about maybe a positive spin on all this. This is an interview from CNBC. Oops, wrong button. There it is. So this guy's job is basically to analyze stocks. And one of the stocks he's looking at is builders. Yeah, stonks. Insert stonks GIF image here.
Stonks. And there's mad money right there. Look at that. Stonks.
Sell. So one of the things he does is analyze builders' stocks. And then he comments on what he thinks is going to happen. His name's Stephen Kim. He's the Encore ISI home builder analyst.
That's a very specific field. Very specific.
Very. And so what he's looking at is not something incendiary as to what's going to happen in the economy. Right. He doesn't have to sell a book or get somebody to go to his website or hire his real estate agents. This is a guy that's looking at the stock saying, should I tell the people that I represent to buy these stocks at their lows because of what's going to happen? Or should we sell these stocks or some other option, whatnot?
Right. But pretty straightforward.
Right. So let's take a look. Let me see if I can play a little bit of what he said. We have to run through an ad. And if we do, I'll mute that.
And I always think there's like a small band of bullish people on the builder, Stephen. It's you. It's Bill Smead. I mean, I keep talking about these low valuations. What do you say can power the next leg of a rally here?
I think the real issue, Kelly, is whether or not this buyer slowdown that we've seen as a result primarily of unaffordability or some mental issues such as
is it unaffordability or is it mental issues? That's what he says. But
funny.
It sounds kind of funny in what he's saying and how. And hopefully you guys could hear that pretty well. I couldn't hear it loop back through my headphones, so I'm sorry about that if you couldn't. But basically,
it was good.
Okay, good. But basically what he's looking at is this a mental issue or is this a legit affordability issue?
And what does he mean by mental? Like, this is what I think the market is actually doing. I think it's worse than it is. Is that kind of where he's hinting at?
Negative psychology built around fear.
Negative sentiment. Built around fear, right? Which is the clickbait, the negative stuff.
Yeah. And he thinks, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, but he thinks it's more mental than it is math. He says that it's not really that they can't afford it. It's that they're currently just sitting on the sidelines, but in the end, they don't really have any more options. So let me play the rest of this.
Wait, hold on.
Part of this quote. Yeah.
Deborah on Clubhouse said she couldn't hear it. So
Deborah, you couldn't hear it. Oh,
did you guys hear it on YouTube and Facebook?
I summarized it a little bit. Let me
comment down below.
Drop a comment if you can't hear the audio. What audio? We can't hear it. I know what it is. I have to go to my computer and pick
another
speaker, roadcaster, another button to click. Guys, there's a lot of buttons. A lot of buttons. All right, this may be too loud. Hopefully not. I'm going to put it at half. All right, fast forward it a little bit. Let's see if we can pick it up here.
Buying opportunity if home prices go down. We're hearing that it's a lot more mental than it is math. In other words, we're hearing that it's not so much that people can't afford as much as they're sitting on the sidelines. And we don't think that these folks have very much in the way of alternatives. Rents are going through the roof.
Boom.
There's just not a lot of standing inventory on the market in a finished form. And as a result, we're pretty confident you're going to see buyer demand come back fairly strongly by the end of the summer. And we think that's
There it is.
Probably going to be the catalyst for this group, which, as you point out, is just his.
And what he's saying that the catalyst for this group is this group of investments that he's looking at, the builder stocks that he's saying should probably buy because they're at a historic low right now. So he's basically looking at the numbers saying that we think buyers are going to roar back towards the end of the summer, end of the year, just like the two other opinions that we heard earlier saying that buyers are going to be coming back towards the end of the summer, towards the end of the year. And I don't know about you guys out there, but we're trying to collect as many buyers as possible right now.
Yeah,
because we see inventory starting to hit. We see houses starting to last a little longer, linger a little bit longer on the market, to become more normal, to see more time on market. And as we see those things happen, then we're looking at buyers saying, hey, you've been wanting to buy for 2 years and haven't had the opportunity. Now is the chance.
Yeah.
So maybe you should.
And did you see on that last slide as he was speaking, that was Stephen Kim, right?
Yeah.
As he was speaking, his last slide said, buyers are running scared, not running numbers. So they're reacting emotionally to this stuff, and probably the clickbaity stuff, probably the doomsdayers, probably the
Grant Cardone.
What do we call them now? The Crash Bros? I don't know what we're calling them anymore.
Yeah, we got to come up with our own name for them. Yeah, we'll figure. Maybe somebody drop that in the comments. What would you call these? Bubble
Recession.
A little bit.
Well, that's a bad word. I can't say. But you know, I think I love how he broke it down. Like, very simple. They're, run your numbers, and if it works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't, that's okay too. But don't be emotional about this. We need to see where you stand right now.
Yeah.
Let's at least have a conversation with and this is a very, I don't want to say whatever level. This is my thinking on it, for first time buyers, and he also mentions rents. I think that was huge. I mean, those things are out of control right now. When you go to the interest rates are the interest rates, that's what you're going to be able to afford. You go out to some rental, and if they have to have a lot of interest, okay, it was 2,500. We have a lot of applications. It's 2,900 now because we think we can get that. I mean, there's no cap on it, right?
Yeah. One of the things that this guy went on to say that I thought was interesting, kind of also echoed by some of the previous stories we had, is that they anticipated the demand to come back, but also that they should see housing starts slow a little bit, which would generally sustain home prices. If housing starts continued to be bullish, I guess, and build more and more and more, then home prices might not stabilize. But due to the pullback from builders, they believe that home prices should stabilize. And then he said, we're starting to see concessions increasing and incentives being given by some of the builders.
I'm really seeing that. And we mentioned it last week. Builder sentiment is now down in the 50s,
but they're saying that those concessions that the builders are giving up are still not back to pre-pandy levels. They're still not back to a normalized market. It is more like 2019, 2018, where it was still a seller's market. And they were generally giving some, but they're still historically low on concessions. They're not even back to those points yet. And Adam makes a point. He said 2019 was not normal. Yes, correct. I think earlier when I said normal, I just meant a market without so many outside influence like the pandy.
Right. Compared to 2020 and 2022 or 21. Yeah. That's
Jimling, housing hucksters. They're really big on TikTok right now. Are you, really? Is that a thing?
That's funny.
Like, do they call themselves that? Housing hucksters?
By the way, hi Jim. How are you, buddy? That's rad. Are they calling themselves housing hucksters, or are they being dubbed?
Are they dubbed housing hucksters?
Like, oh, those housing hucksters.
Jeremy James says Crash Bros. Yeah, Crash Bros is around there, but it's that's kind of people are using that one already.
Crash Bros.
What's authentic to our show?
It was Bubble Boys, then it was Crash Bros. Now it's
what?
Well, there you go. Now it's housing hucksters.
He said, "No, feel free to take that name and run."
It's
hucksters.
also
I don't mind it.
It's a little old timey too. I kind of like it.
Yeah. All right. So what that guy says is that he says that home price growth, he believes, will start to slow. And then what do we have here? Home price growth slowed for the second straight month in May.
That's
S&P. K Schiller says.
Jeremy James just said that. Yeah, Housing Wire hit it. This is CNBC. Yeah.
Home prices in May were 19.7% higher compared with the same month last year. So what? Wait, what? 19.7% higher. Home prices were 20% higher in May compared with the same month last year. That's a heck of an increase. This marks the second straight month of slower increases as the housing market cools due to higher mortgage rates.
Slower increases.
Yeah. So the numbers are just now coming out for May. I double checked the date because it takes so long for these numbers to come out. It's July 26th release date for May housing data.
That's so. I mean, at least they're not misreading data like the Fed did.
Craig Lazara, managing director of the S&P Dow Jones Indices, said that despite this deceleration, growth rates are still extremely robust, with all three composites at or above the 98th percentile historically. Quote, we've noted previously that mortgage financing has become more expensive than the Federal Reserve ratchets up the interest rates, a process that was ongoing in our May data was gathered. Accordingly, a more challenging macroeconomic environment may not support extraordinary home price growth for much longer. So he's predicting that June numbers are not going to be as robust, which okay.
That's a great prediction.
Yeah. I think that's because you already lived through June. You kind of can probably predict that accurately.
Already 27 days past June.
I mean, can they not get the data faster? Like, why is this? What's happening?
Can I wait until they pull the numbers for the $1 billion lottery and then guess the numbers?
Yeah,
I could probably get it.
Guys, last month's lottery numbers, I got them live on a live show.
Boom. By the way, I figured it out. So I'm going to combine. I like that Jeremy's housing. Can we say that? Is that a bad word? I don't know.
I don't know if it's a bad word or not. Isn't it a thing?
It's a thing. Housing douche. I'll just say it anyway. And housing hucksters. I'm going with housing hacks. That's what
house hacking is already a thing.
No, housing hacks, not hacking, not like life hacks. These are hacks that are
hackers.
These are housing hacky hackers. I don't know.
Hey, we got a couple more people in Clubhouse. What's up, Armando? What's up, Steven?
Housing hacky sacks.
Deborah, you jumped up here. Do y'all want to comment on this? Home price growth slowed for the second straight month. They're talking about May numbers. I'd love to get just a quick roundabout. What are you guys in Clubhouse seeing, and the people that are watching on YouTube, either live or in the replay, or the people that are on Facebook too? Drop in the comments what's happening in your market. Are you seeing a decrease in active list prices? Are you seeing a decrease in home values, which is different, which there is a good reel that I did about that. Or is it still going up in your area? Are you still seeing homes sell with 50 offers and, crazy? What's happening?
In 1 month from today, we will know what happened in June.
Yeah, pretty much.
Eesh.
It takes them a long time to gather that. Go ahead.
Hey, Ray, this is Deborah from Las Vegas. How y'all doing?
I'm good, Deborah. How are you?
Good. So today we have new listings at 61, price decreases at 57. So almost as much. And yeah. So
also want to note
seeing a lot of
how few homes that is for Vegas. Right? Did you work in Vegas years and years ago? Do you have we had 500 homes a day on there, and now you have 50? That's not much.
Yeah. Well, these are new listings.
Oh, just
for
the new
today.
listings. I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
New listings. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I've been a realtor here since 2005. So, I've seen it crash in the 2005, 2008. And then, went back up. And so now it's kind of, it's teetering on a buyer's market, but it's right there, right at the edge. And so, we are seeing concessions. We are seeing, they'll pay some closing cost or, different, incentives. So yeah, we are seeing that, Ray.
Interesting.
And a lot of price decreases. Yeah.
So you're seeing more price decreases. You are seeing some concessions. So in your market, it bears out almost exactly what they're saying is happening around the nation.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And Vegas has been a pretty volatile market over these crashes and ebbs and flows.
Julie, she's in Clubhouse. She's had an inspection, so she may not be able to say anything. But I'd love to know how something like Vegas compares to Georgia. Are you seeing the same thing happen in Georgia, or is Georgia unique and different? Are you there to comment? You may not be there to comment.
There you go. And Mr. Vegas in Clubhouse.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Let's go.
So we're about an hour east of Atlanta. So everything that happens in Atlanta, we're a little bit delayed and a little slow out here. But what we're getting a lot of is all the Atlanta buyers coming to our market. So what the prices and things that are happening there are very different because everybody's coming to our market with incomes and jobs from other places. So we are still seeing, I'm not seeing any concessions on anything. And the only things that are getting reductions are houses that are about 20 years old that no one's updated. But outside of that, I mean, I listed something on Saturday and had 2 offers in less than 24 hours. So,
but even that, just to stop you for a second, if you look back, 5 months ago, you listed that same property. Would you have gotten 10 offers, or is 2 kind of high and normal in your area?
2 was probably normal for that particular house.
Okay.
Yeah, but like there are definitely less offers. So we're slowing in that aspect, but I think we're still like 6 months behind other markets.
Interesting.
For where we are.
That's interesting.
We just have more and more buyer demand than because people are shifting to because we're a little cheap.
That's also a trend that we're seeing around the country. So, and this is kind of why you might see some of our clients or some of our prospects reaching out and saying like, hey, I don't really want to sell right now because I heard it's not a really good time because of all these price drops. Where you could be like, well, no. Real estate is local. Let me tell you what's happening in our market. Here's where the people are coming from. Here's where they're going to. While on the other side of it, you may be like, yeah, there's a ton of people leaving here. Let me show you how that we can maximize the price for you. And then when you turn around and purchase, you get a phenomenal deal. So, I think it's just all about the education of the client at this point, because they're hearing all the national news stories about home prices decreasing. And if you got somebody in Julie's market hearing about all the home price drops, and Julie's like, no, you probably would want to put in a list price or a little bit higher because she's telling them how to get the house. And they're like, well, we want to go $20,000 less because we're seeing all these price drops on the news. And then they're in a multiple offer situation. So real estate is local. It's always been local. There are trends that happen around the nation, but you can still find pockets of things that are happening differently. And there's opportunity for either investment, where you can jump onto a trend in an area and make an investment that pays off big because that's a one market that's moving up while the rest of the market is moving down. But there's also individual situations where maybe the seller has to sell. Maybe there's a personal distress, or maybe the property, like she said, the ones that are getting the price drops right now are the ones that have been on the market and, were no updates after 20, 30 years. Well, that could be an opportunity for someone. So, if you're watching this as a consumer, talk to your real estate agent, figure out exactly what's happening in your marketplace before making some of these big decisions. I want to get into the comments. You guys are answering some of the questions. Olivier said some pockets of our market are still good, but a lot of pockets are slowing down. He said inventory is up about 40% in the past 2 months. There was a story, I don't think we're going to cover it in today's, but it said the inventory was up about 30% in the U.S. year over year. So
he's in Canada, right?
He's in Canada. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Canada. Okay.
Jeremy James says our market has cooled. It was 2,000 and we are now at 1,000. What do you mean it was 2,000? What was 2,000?
Meaning it was really hot. Now it's hot, but not as hot.
2,000 degrees. I didn't see the degrees. Sorry.
Yeah.
2,000 degrees. And now we're at 1,000 degrees. All right.
So it's still really hot. Yeah.
Crystal Cherry in Northwest Arkansas is seeing home price reductions, but most were overpriced to start with.
Exactly.
Open houses seem to have leveled off. We're seeing fewer offers, but the ones that come in are much clearer and are much cleaner. And still at list price or higher. We are apparently padded here, Walmart, Tyson, JB Hunt, so we usually don't see the extremes that are experienced nationwide. Well, part of that padding is coming from Arkansas too. I mean, we just, as a state, we don't see that kind of increase, decrease that you see around the country. But yeah, you're right. Where there is a lot of business and economy still happening, Walmart still requires vendors, if I'm not mistaken, to come and have a have someone at that office. So as long as they're still bringing people in, you're going to have more money coming in from outside where they just sold their home in California for $3 million, and they could come into Arkansas and buy a castle for $1 million. So Scap says, seeing lots of price drops in Atlanta metro area, lots of angry sellers not getting what they think they should be, which is fine because they are hiring me to help with the realism of the market. You mean they're doing like a pre-listing inspection or pre-listing appraisal, Scap? Chris Murray said, this is morbid, but regardless of the market conditions, people are always getting married, divorced, have births, have deaths, get jobs, get fired. Yeah, exactly.
That's not actually that bad from Chris. When Chris says this is morbid, you got to be careful, but that's not that bad.
Yeah, that way I was fixing to say, I know Chris, and that's not really that bad.
Yeah. When Chris specifically said this is morbid, but you got to, but that wasn't that bad.
He said that CNBC is looking like New Year's Eve right now with a countdown for the Fed. Yeah, there is a live blog.
3, 2, 1. Announcement.
Yeah, it'd be 3, 2, 1%. What? All right, so it may come in just a second here. So thank you guys for dropping those comments. Do we have any comments in the Clubhouse chat about what's happening in people's markets before we move on? And if something's happening different in any of your markets, some kind of what Deborah said or Julie said, I'd love to know that. So you can flash your mic there. But did you see any comments about the market there?
No, I don't see anything.
Breaking news sounder. I don't have it, but I got this. Breaking news. You heard it here first. We are officially the first podcast to announce that the Fed has increased interest rates 0.75 percentage points for the second consecutive time to fight inflation. Whoa. So all of you that guessed earlier in the game, whoever guessed 0.75 will be entered into the drawing for a prize. The Federal Open Market Committee released its post-meeting statement Wednesday on what will be doing with interest rates. That was it.
And by the way,
he was so cool fast at getting that out that it was just like boom.
And how cool was it though that we're literally the first? We're the first. No one has created a video or is live right now. No one. This is the first. Right. You're seeing it live here. If you're watching, we got you.
We got you. Jeremy James says, "I win."
All right.
And the economy loses. No, I'm kidding.
You get a bearded man of real estate T-shirt signed by Jerome Powell, the Fed chair.
Yeah, if we have a couple of bearded men of T-shirts left, but I think it's like a women's size. I got to check.
Yeah, I have a couple, but they're small. They don't
super
fit
small.
Anyone.
That'd be funny. We're gonna give out a free T-shirt, everyone, and it's just like whatever size is left.
But it's a youth large. Sorry.
Ted insult to industry. Ted insult to injury. We're gonna frame it and sign it, and then give it to you. You get to get it out of the frame. Yeah. Well, there we have it, folks. So what is this gonna do? 0.75. That's it. That's the breaking news. 0.75. What's
the Fed rate? That's not the interest rates aren't going up 0.75 today.
The lender friends love it when we say, hey, it was 6% this morning, so now it's 6.75. All my lender friends love it when we talk about it like that.
Right, because that's not happening.
Olivier said a youth large would be perfect for my dog. So it is going to change though.
Yeah. But they haven't not been changing over the last 6 months. Like,
no, well, a lot of people think that the price, this has been built into it, right? Which, all right, let's talk about this. Is something going to change right now? Hang on, let me get there. We heard the breaking news.
We broke the breaking.
Does that mean we broke the breaking news? We broke the news today. When news breaks, we fix it. I don't know what that's from, but it's one of my favorite.
I think it's ours. I think we made it up.
We'll say we did.
Yeah.
All right. So what's going to happen now? Let's look at it.
Wait. Hold on. I have more breaking news.
What? Wait, hang on. Let me get the breaking news sounder.
Okay.
Breaking news.
Okay, now this is from Reddit. But Zoe becomes the world's first named heat wave.
What?
We named a heat wave, Ray.
The earth is hotter. The money is more expensive. What's going to happen to your 401k?
Do it. Do it.
Oh, Jeremy says mortgage rates have already creeped up.
Oh,
really? Well,
so,
let's take a look. I'm glad you mentioned that.
We're doing it again. I didn't know you're doing it again.
We're doing it again.
William Pattison, he says on Clubhouse that he says, I doubt 30-year mortgage rates will move much.
He may be right. Mortgage rates already rose. They actually risen. They risen indeed ahead of the Fed's big announcement. Mortgage rates rose slightly this week ahead of the Federal Reserve's highly anticipated meeting next Tuesday, when it's expected to increase the bench rate by up to a full percentage point. 0.75 is the correct answer. What could impact mortgage rates ahead? Quote, even though the upcoming rate hike will be more aggressive, it is expected to have a smaller impact on mortgage rates. Nadia Evangelo, senior economist and director of forecasting of the National Association of Realtors, writes in the association's blog, quote, data shows that mortgage rates have already priced in some of the effects of the upcoming Fed rate hikes. So there you go. They're already there, which, they may creep up a little more. There's probably going to be some ups and downs.
Now, can we predict some headlines real quick, Ray?
Yeah.
I predict you're going to see mortgage rates hit the highest since 2010. You're going to see lots of those, or whatever the number is.
Highest mortgage rates since 19.
Whatever. Yes. Yeah. Could higher interest rates mean the end of the housing market? You're going to see all those. Yeah. And that noise. I love that noise.
I really like that sounder. We may be using that one a lot. Jeremy James said he's talking with his loan officer. He said they were already creeping up. Yeah. That's what we think. All right, so let's talk about the fix. What's the fix to the housing problems? Lawrence Yoon, he's the chief economist at the National Association of Realtors, spoke to lawmakers, and this is what he had to say.
Man, this dude's got some pull.
Yeah. The market won't improve without action on supply. What have we been saying? For how long have we been saying it?
So just because I'm not a very well-storied and knowledgeable economist, you don't listen to me on our little show here, guys. We've been saying this for years.
We've literally been saying it now for 2 years, that nothing is going to happen as long as lawmakers put out all these incentives for the buyers. Hey, let's figure out how to help more people buy a house. There were already too many people buying a house. We don't need a whole bunch of people buying a house. What we needed is some relief on the supply side. And we kept talking about this over and over and over and over.
How many times, like, just guess over the last, let's just put 2 years, have you heard me specifically say, Ray, when we read an article and I say, Ray, when are they going to come up with an incentive program? And I had one a week or two ago that seemed everyone liked. When are they going to have incentives for sellers? How many times? Just put a number on it in the last 2 years.
I'm going to say at least 10. At least 10. At
least we've said, and that's just me. I mean, it's a thing that you can tell. I get my fervor all up because it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. Why? It's another, I mean, we story after story after story. And yes, we need to help people buy homes, but we also need to help people sell homes.
It's starting to make me
incentivize them.
It's starting to make me wonder if the NAR watches our show, because during the whole commission lawsuits and everything that was happening, we're like, where is the voice saying that this will impact the disenfranchised people that can't afford a real estate commission and then would have no professional representation as they purchase a home, for the very people that need professional representation, because you're not allowing the seller or the listing broker to split that commission and pay that agent for that buyer. We're yelling that from the rooftops, and then finally, months and months down the road, the NAR was like, hey, this may negatively impact the disenfranchised, actually. Now, a couple of years, we finally get on stage with the lawmakers. And what does Lawrence Yun do? He quotes Dan.
Yeah. Thanks, Lawrence.
Though growth in home prices is slowing, a national decline is unlikely. Lawrence Yun, chief economist for the National Association of Realtors, testified Thursday on Capitol Hill. Yun told the Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs that while potential for weaker sales may help increase housing inventory in some markets, it won't be enough to ease affordability constraints. Quote, in the near term, I do expect the situation to change appreciably. Historic undersupply in the market combined with continued demand will likely drive ongoing issues with affordability for many Americans, and short-term price adjustments, if they occur, will be less consequential compared to the immense long-term housing affordability challenges we face as a country. So he goes on to say that the same loan amount for the same house would require, where's the quote that talks about the supply side economics of this thing? Any increases in available inventory observed over the first half of the year have been offset by the corresponding increases in consumer costs. So supply side, we need help on supply side.
Jeremy James has the perfect meme. You could just put his text on any picture, like the Fed. Market won't improve without supply. Also the Fed. Builders pulled back.
There it is.
That's so good. Like, I mean, this goes into the category for me of like things that are so simple. Like, I'm not a super smart dude, but I mean, if you push one side of the transaction, okay, go buy, and build, and you don't incentivize the other sides. I mean,
they do that during a market with limited supply.
And a time where you don't need to incentivize buyers. A 2.5 interest rate is incentivizing buyers. That's your incentive.
Yeah.
I mean,
which that's what Lawrence says is, can I call him Lawrence? That's what he says is that the low rates are the incentive for the buyer. That's literally, he's saying that buyers are now going to pull back because the rates are higher.
Yeah. Jeremy James says that too. Remember when they were incentivizing buyers last year?
Yeah. No, they were actually giving money and credits and stuff.
Right.
So, well, maybe we should continue. We have a couple more stories to cover.
Hey, inventory is super low. Let's incentivize buyers. Okay. Sounds
well.
Good.
All of this topsy-turvy stuff could lead to a recession.
Hey, before we hit it, there's one Jeff Falali. That's a fun name. On he's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He says on Clubhouse, 40-year mortgage and land lease communities will become the new normal over the next decade.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
Somebody was posting about that. Somebody was actually posting about that in the group, the 40-year mortgage thing.
I don't know about the land lease part. I don't do a lot with that, but the 40-year mortgage, I mean, I would say there's a lot of truth behind that, because why wouldn't they want to tie you down with debt for even longer? Like, why not?
Well, and most people are going to sell in 5 years anyway.
Right.
But you might as well be saddled with debt if you're going into a recession.
Stop doing the thing.
Inching closer to a recession, the next downturn may be different than the last. Look to commercial real estate for clues about the direction of the economy.
Dude, we've been mentioning this, remember?
Yeah,
when
I'm telling you,
so many commercial spaces were empty. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Here it is.
This article is from the Realtors Association as well as magazine.realtor articles. The U.S. gross domestic product contracted by the first quarter, 1.5%. Stock market has been tumbling. Inflation stubbornly high. Federal Reserve just increased rates 0.75. They were saying they could raise it. Pending home sales have fallen 6 straight months and are now trending slightly below 2019 levels. The economy is short. Oh, wait. Sorry. I put in language from The Big Short there. I meant the economy in short is on the verge of recession. Yet, It'll not be a straightforward recession. Despite hiring freezes, tech firms, recent job cuts, mortgage lenders, refinancing business dried up. And the bigger problem for the economy is not the lack of jobs, but rather the shortage of workers. And that's something we've kind of already talked about this, but you guys should go look up the article. They are talking about housing inventory increasing a little bit. It's up 10.8% from March, but down 10.4% from 1 year ago. But we saw there was another. So this is why I didn't cover that other article, but there was an article saying that home supplies were up 30% over last year. But then this one says it's down 10.4% from a year ago. So I'm a little confused on where the data is headed. I mean, I would trust NAR over this analyst that was saying that. But you can see the supply and demand trends there. If you're on audio only, there's a chart that shows supply and demand that says all trends are national from April 2021 to April 2022. It's got a gray line ending at $391,000 as the national median. It's got a purple line at 1.03 million. That's the number of existing homes on the market at the end of the month.
Is this current? Like end of what month?
April.
April. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
But the existing home sales seasonally adjusted annual rate, which is the actual rate of sales for the month multiplied by 12 and then adjusted for sales differences, that's at 5.61 million. So they're still saying that we are at around a 5 or 6 million house deficit.
Deficit, right?
Yeah. That's what they said today on the news too.
And that's with housing, houses sitting on the market and inventory flooding the market, right? And by the way, for the listeners, I did bunny quotes on flooding the market.
Flooding into the market. All right, we have 2 more articles, and I'm running close to the time. So let's hit these 10. If there is a recession, so if this article is right and we start to go into a recession, there are supposedly 10 markets that may pop during the recession.
Wait. Pop how? Good or bad?
Like a balloon pop.
Oh, okay. All right. Wait, is that good or bad?
We're just going to talk. We're going to talk about the ones that are at the most risk. Markets most at risk of a downturn across the price spectrum with relatively affordable. Boise, Idaho, 76.9, securing the number 2 spot ahead of more expensive locals.
Yeah,
including Cape Coral, Florida.
Boise is our fault, by the way. That's California's fault. I'm so sorry.
Las Vegas and Sacramento. That's interesting. Northport, Florida, Las Vegas, and Sacramento, California.
Where in Florida?
Northport and Cape Coral. I guess it's Cape Coral.
Cape Coral, we know, but
is it Cape Coral or Cape Coral?
Cape Coral.
How do the locals say it? Is it Caribbean or Caribbean?
Depends on if it's not Pirates of the Caribbean, it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean sounds like a fun movie. Pirates of the Caribbean. Ooh,
that's so different. Yeah, but if I'm traveling, I'm going to go to the Caribbean.
I'm going to go to the Caribbean.
Yeah, it depends.
All right, so here's the lowest chance. Let's go to the lowest chance of a downturn. Akron, Ohio has the lowest chance of a downturn. Overall risk score of 29.6. Philadelphia. Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Montgomery County is a city in Pennsylvania, but it's called Montgomery County. Or is it Montgomery County is a county?
What county is Montgomery County in if that's a city?
Oh, yeah. I've never seen it written like that. El Paso, Texas. Cleveland. Cincinnati. Boston. Buffalo, New York. Kansas City, Mo. And Rochester, New York.
Remember,
those are the areas with the least likely to pop during the bubble.
Remember the sorry, I literally have a new buyer.
Oh, text and Little Rock, Arkansas, also on the.
No, it's not. You just added that.
What?
Rancho Cucamonga, least likely city in the world.
It's gonna pop. That's in California. Everything in California is gonna pop.
Well, and then everyone's gonna leave, hopefully. But remember, what was it, a month, 2 ago? We covered there was it mentioned one little specific city in California that and I'm not likening that city to Sacramento, but Sacramento is kind of one of those cities that got the help from other oversaturated, overpriced markets. So I see that I would totally agree. That Sacramento is going to have a little bit of an issue when everyone realizes that they don't like Sacramento. Wait, well, so, I live here?
I think they're most at risk of a downturn because the price acceleration happened so fast. So that means they were the most popular areas.
And it's a market that's not used to having that happen. It's like if Little Rock all of a sudden went bam, and it's not used to that.
So wouldn't the markets with the least risk of a deceleration be moderately popular markets that are kind of up and comers?
Yeah, that people either haven't recognized, that are still, I don't know how to say it. They're still
growth communities.
Potential growth communities. Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk about the commission lawsuit. So we've been covering this for several weeks now. No, several years now. Just to give you a brief overview of where we are today, there have been a couple of lawsuits that are suing real estate agents and companies, saying that they would have paid less for a house had they not been represented, basically. And the way they're saying that is because this guy's commission was paid by the seller and I couldn't negotiate it down. So it ignores the fact that the buyer agent could have been a really good buyer agent that got that buyer an incredible deal on the home. It ignores a lot. There's a lot that it ignores. One of them is in Missouri and has been granted class action status in these specific counties or areas of Missouri if represented by a list of real estate companies. But the basic premise is that because the real estate agent is paid by the seller or the listing firm, then it limits the buyer's ability to negotiate how much that agent gets paid, and the services that the agent provides are not on track with the amount they make. Now, that could be true for a lot of agents, but it could also not be true for a lot of agents. So it's going to be, I think this is a tough court case. They were granted class action status in Missouri. They're going after class action status with another one, but they're trying to put 20 markets into the mix. So it's a big deal. There's some new MLS rules that have been put out there to combat this idea, the consumer's perception maybe that commission is not negotiable. I think a lot of us that have been in the business a long time know that commission is negotiable for a fact. And we see companies always enter the market and offer rebates, and they offer taking some of that commission and giving it back to the buyer. And so there are companies like that in almost every market. And, maybe the services they offer are a little more limited, but basically if you're saying, well, I want to be able to negotiate my agent's commission down to nothing and also get them to work really hard for me, you're going to have a tough time as a consumer to find an agent that'll work for you like that. But there may be some ways to make it more clear through the MLS rules that will satisfy the perception that are creating the lawsuits, I would say. Do you think that's a good summary of where we are?
I do. And I just had a really great idea.
What's that?
I'm not going to share it. I just had a really good, okay, let's just say. Now I'm going to talk through this. Now let's just say in our current, how we sit now. Now I'm going to wait because this isn't topic specific. I'm going to wait. But anyway, go on.
Wait, Mike V says, I like the donut picture, Mike.
Right.
What about broker contracts that don't allow agents to negotiate down? So you're saying where your broker said, well, that's your minimum commission. I think a broker is able to set their own minimum commission.
Well, so like with my broker, who shall remain nameless, if you negotiate down under a certain dollar amount, they still take a fee or their cut based on the amount that the commission was offered.
Right.
So like if there's rules trying to keep it from, being bottled into a commission, I wonder if that would apply to those broker contracts.
So I have two things, Mike. First, you could change brokerages, which maybe we should talk. Second, I have my own minimum commission for my team, right? So this is the minimum because this is how much it costs us to operate. And if you take the minimum, you're making $0. You're just paying for the operations side of everything. And it looks like you're making money, but you're not making any money at all. So we also have a minimum And if that number drops below it, the agent gets to decide if they want to work for free or pay to work, or if they don't want to do that, because they cannot represent that client and the client can go represent themselves through it. But I think it's just your choice as a business. And that's kind of, you actually is a great lead in, Mike, because you're leading right into the story. The new MLS rule could kill future bombshell commission lawsuits. This is an opinion piece on Inman. Basically, they give you the synopsis of what's happening and what the rules currently are. It says a buyer broker commission rule ensures that the price competition among buyer brokers is restrained because the person retaining the buyer broker, the buyer, does not negotiate or pay his or her broker commission. In addition, the seller's inflated commission offer cannot be reduced by buyers or their brokers, as defendants also prohibit the buyer brokers from making a purchase on home offers, home purchase offers contingent on the reduction. So what they're saying is, because a real estate agent can't be named as part of the home buying process, that their commission can't be negotiated throughout that. And because of that, then there's a problem with the buyer being able to negotiate the commission that they give their agent, which I think is a funny concept for a buyer agent to be like, hey, I want to buy your house. I'm going to use this guy, but I want you to pay him less. Right? That on its face is kind of a funny.
Yeah. I don't. He's not worth that much. Can you pay him less?
Yeah. Now there is the compensation the seller offers to the buyer's broker will be determined by the seller. So there's some other points that they make. And then they're saying that, like, basically, hey, here's what the lawsuit is built on. So you guys can read the rest of that opinion piece. I kind of want to get to these rule changes.
Well, can it be an option to where the buyer going into the process signs a contract, says, I'm going to pay the agent's commission?
Yeah.
Or
well, I mean, that's what it. So in our
goes
contract,
across with your offer.
This is, I think, why Arkansas might be insulated from this whole battle, because in our contracts, we attribute a fee to the buyer. And then it says, but Mr. or Miss Buyer, you give me permission to accept partial or complete payment of that fee from the seller or the listing firm. But here is my fee that you agree to pay. Now, how you pay it is up to you. You could come out of pocket with it, or you can allow me to accept that from somewhere else. And I feel like that contract, I feel like that insulates it from this entire deal. But anyway,
our buyer broker agreement, because not a lot of agents have those signed here in California, but ours, it's different, but it says that here's my minimum. Here's what you agree to pay me. Yeah. And then it protects us from other things, not just specifically like if they, if a sketchy agent comes along and says, you can only write the offer with me, it's the only way you're going to get the house. Well, they have a contract that says, well, my agent has to write the offer. It protects us from a lot of things, but it says specifically in there, here's what I make and here's what essentially you owe me, but the seller is going to be covering.
So here's some of the proposed changes. For these two steps to be implemented, the NWMLS will make major changes in all its forms, rules, and practices. 3 additional provisions below address the changes. One says the listing agreement will provide new options for buyer compensation to address the role of the listing broker and buyer. It says add buyer broker in the transaction. I think it means and. So the listing agreement will provide new options for the broker compensation to address the role of the listing broker and buyer broker in the transaction. The buyer representation agreement will offer alternatives for buyers and their broker for compensation that depend on the terms of the listing. And then lastly, brokers will be more easily able to fashion their own form of representation agreements with the sellers and buyers to differentiate their services and fees and compete in the market. Sounds kind of vague, but I think what they're saying is they're going to allow more flexibility in the contracts. I think that's the goal. By adding additional flexibility in the contracts, then it'll give the buyers and sellers the opportunity to pull more levers on the commission stuff to change. And here's one more. It says buyers should be fully aware about how and how much their broker is compensated. buyers should be given the opportunity to freely negotiate that compensation with their broker. These changes are a positive step to help the industry evolve. So here's the other side of this coin. Let's say we did that. Let's say now it's all negotiable. I'm getting paid this much from the seller. What's going to happen is that a lot of agents that would just take whatever the seller gives, now they're going to have an agreed upon price, right? Now it's like, this is what you owe me, no matter where it comes from. And previously, there were a lot of clients where I accepted far less than what I would have gotten paid had they bought some other house. But the one they choose was just lowballing on the buyer side. Right. And hey, I'm gonna, I'm in a volume business. I'm not in a one and done type of industry. Right. I'm gonna make up for that. I know they're gonna give me referrals. It doesn't matter. Most of my clients didn't even know, unless they looked it up themselves. They had no idea that I was taking a 2 to 3% cut. That I was getting cut out of part of that transaction because of some greed on the other side. So, but I still closed the deal because that was the house that my client wanted.
Yeah.
Well, with these new rules and levers put in place, it's going to be very clear, and everyone's going to be encouraged to make that very clear. Here's what you're going to have to pay. So now it's not going to be the agent steering someone to and from a house, because that was the fear. Was one listing offers an agent 10%, another listing offers an agent 1%. Right. Which house is that agent going to try to sell? Well, if my client came to me and said, Ray, I'm really torn between these two homes. We love them both equally. Which one do you like? I would look at them bold in the face and say,
you have to
pick. Both the same. And they would say, yes. And I would point to one and say, I make way more off of that one. I would totally tell them that.
Yeah.
And just let them know, like, hey, that's a great one because I make way more off of it, and kind of laugh and see what they do. Because they may be like, hey, let's do that. Let's help a brother out. We like Ray. Right. He's been a good agent for us. Let's do that.
And it's fully transparent.
But what the reality of it is, no home is the same. So I've never had that conversation. I never know what the commissions are because I just don't look at it. It's just not something I watch. But you know who will start to look at it when they know that they're now very responsible for that fee?
The buyers.
The buyers. So now you're going to have a situation in which the buyers sign up with you to pay a certain amount. And if they look at a listing and that listing doesn't offer to cover that amount, then they're going to say, well, we have to put in a lower offer on that price because we have to bring more money to the table in order to pay for our agent.
Which in turn hurts sellers.
Yeah. So we've actually just proven that sellers will get less in those scenarios.
You're welcome, everyone.
So, and on the flip side, there's two properties in a neighborhood. One is offering to pay the entire commission for the buyer's agent on behalf of the buyer. The other's not offering to pay any. Well, that one that's offering to pay more is going to get more attention. It's the same thing that they think is currently happening, except instead of an agent steering people, it's going to be the buyer steering themselves. So, and no, I don't agree that agents should not steer people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it is going to happen. All things being equal, you can encourage or incentivize someone to sell something by offering them more money to do it. It's not that they're going to steer people from a lesser one. It's that they may help market that one for you. They may post that one on Facebook. I've done that before. Somebody's like, hey, we're giving a $10,000 bonus to anyone that sells this property. I'm like, can I post that one on Facebook? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's try to do it. So, and I think I think it's a good idea for buyers to be more aware of the fee and how it works. Yes. But a buyer that sits through our consultation knows exactly what our minimum is. They know what we charge, and they know how we accept payment for that, and that they're giving us permission to accept it from somewhere else. And if they don't give us permission to accept it from someone else, then they're going to be responsible for it. Anyone that does business with me knows that, because that's what we talk about. And I think that's the basic problem, is that the lack of professionalism in our industry from people that don't know their contracts, they don't know how that stuff works. And you have people just saying, use me, I'm free to be your buyer's agent. And they don't really know what they're saying. It's just something that they heard said or something they saw someone else say. And so they want to compete with their marketing stuff. So they want to say that there too. Matt Omar said that's a lot of Facebook ads. Yeah. Cash options, 602.5 million. All right. So that's my 2 cents on this whole deal. Do you have your 2 cents to add, Dan?
No, you covered it.
Okay. I kind of ranted a little bit.
No, it's good. It's perfect. I don't think you could add to that anymore. And we solved the entire issue if everyone would just pay attention to our show.
Speaking of pay attention to the show, Ron Bruno's late.
Yes, we did, buddy. We covered it live as it broke. We broke the news and then fixed it.
Have we said our piece regarding the Fed funds increase today? Yes. We talked about it. We also talked about how a lot of those were probably already priced in because they were, and I think they do this on purpose. They were like, oh, it's either going to be 0.75 or 1%. And then they go with the 0.75 to chill out the market a little bit. So I think they did that on purpose. Had they said it's going to be 0.5 or 0.75, and then they did 0.75 today, everybody would freak out. So yeah, we have talked about that, but you have to catch the replay, bro. Thanks for joining us, Ron. I'm just messing with you, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, we saw mortgage rates go up by exactly 75 basis points today. Just kidding. Mortgage rates are flat right now.
They're flat. See, they creeped up a little bit, right? And then they flattened out. So
there you go.
I mean, what happens is you've got what the Fed is doing is they're trying to choke off the demand on the short term and allow supply to catch up. So when you increase the Fed funds rate, you make it more expensive to borrow in the short term, which allows supply to catch up, which brings down inflation. So it's all timed. There's a reason why they do it. It just doesn't add 75 basis points to mortgage rates every time the Fed.
We already talked. We already said that it's going to go from 6 to 6.75. Ron. We also said that lenders love hearing us say that.
Amazing. It's amazing.
just today, it's going to start going up 0.75% right now.
Right now. It was 6 this morning. Now it's 6.75. Clearly, because the Fed raised the rate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, and by the end of the year, it's going to be at 10 because that's what they're forecasting for the rest of the year. You should lock in now.
You'd lock in right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. Well, thanks for joining us today, Ron. I know it was a busy day. Most of the lender people today are kind of out because they're like, I got to watch this stuff. But thanks for stopping by the show. And to everyone else that joined today, we had a wonderful time in the comments with you guys. Thanks for joining us on Clubhouse. Thanks for joining the discussion there. You can always find us at the Real Estate Networking Club on Clubhouse. Follow that club. You'll be notified of other great rooms like Justin Conoco, who was literally here for 2 seconds today. He was here early. Normally he jumps in at the very last minute. He was here for 2 seconds today and then popped back out. But he's got a great show called Practical and Tactical every Tuesday at 12 o'clock Central. So if you want to dig into learning what to do practically as a real estate industry person or real estate agent, I say industry person because you could be title, it could be beneficial to you. You could be lender. It's a beneficial room. Yeah. But it's usually real estate agents.
No zombie.
So be sure you join that. And then follow us on YouTube. Hit the bell, subscribe so that you're notified of the show. I think that's what Matt LaMarche does because he's always first. See if anyone in the world can beat Matt LaMarche to the first comment on YouTube.
That's a good challenge for next week.
Yeah, and I am going to start trying to post it a little bit earlier. I'd like to post it like on Monday.
Yeah,
so we have a couple of days for people to look at it and say, okay, yeah, I do want to tune into that show, and a couple of days for everybody to share it.
Yeah, Julie can adjust all of her inspections around it.
That's right. We may be changing the format of the show a little bit. I'm going to put some stuff out there on my Instagram today that is asking you guys about the show. So I'll go first. Follow me at Razorback, RAYZORBACK, everywhere good Razorbacks are sold on Instagram, and look for the polls that I post on the stories, because I'm going to be asking a couple of show format questions just to hear what people want. We're going to keep this main channel as the live channel, and I'm doing some reading. We have a book club going on with the YouTube formula. Wonderful book.
Shorts.
We're gonna be doing a shorts channel probably of just 1 minute. And we will probably also do a Chops channel, its own thing. Because people that watch the Chops are probably going to be different than the people that watch the live show. But we're going to keep this the live show. We have a lot of fun with the thumbnail. I should share the thumbnail now for those that have been waiting the whole time. The thumbnail is from a popular movie you may have heard of called The Big Short. And so we inserted ourselves into the movie and have the bigger short, as you can see. So I am Steve Carell. Dan is the other guy. What's the other guy's name?
I always forget his name. Michael.
Yeah.
Michael something.
It's the scene in The Big Short where they're all gathered around the table yelling at both of them. And they're just sitting there at the table. So I have an excited face because I don't have a sad face. I got to get some more of these cut out. And then Dan is like going, ooh, but he's sitting on his phone. And then everyone's pointing and yelling.
Ooh, they're yelling at me.
So, so these thumbnails are a lot of fun for us to make. But if you read books like the YouTube formula and you look at like how to be successful on YouTube, our thumbnails are not the way. We have fun with them because they're meaningful to us and they're kind of like inside jokes about what's happening, but it's really not the way to build an audience. But one of the ways you can build an audience is by getting people to share it.
Yeah.
So
we share.
I really don't want to just post fire in houses all the time, but that does do really well on YouTube.
It does.
Ask Christina Smallhorn or Jeremy Knight.
And by the way, Mike, it's funny that you mentioned it because a couple years ago we did a whole round of shirts. Whoever wanted to buy one, I think we did $20 each. That's these.
Maybe we should do that again.
We should do that again because this is essentially a brand new audience. We've cycled out.
Yeah, probably a lot of people dropped off.
Yeah, Melissa.
Melissa Mara, she's not even commenting much anymore. It's like 1 to 2 comments, and then
she's an OG. Yeah. But all these new people, so we might need to do another round of shirts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Merch.
Yep.
All right, thanks guys for joining us. Dan, tell everybody where they can find you.
It's right there. Catbutt or at Catbutt on Instagram. Oh, sorry.
Don't. That's probably you don't want to Google that.
Please don't. I was kidding. D-Ludwig, DLUDWIG ROCKS on Instagram. And what I'm gonna give you guys a challenge. Go there and watch. I don't know what it's one of my most recent reels. It's funny. You should go watch it. And share it.
One of his highest viewed reels on there. Go take
my highest viewed reels. It's almost 10,000 views now. I almost went viral.
Wow, way to go. Do you get paid for them yet?
No.
That would have been a good one to get paid for it. But I don't think you could collab and get paid for it.
I think I have to hit 10,000 first. I'm not sure.
No, I get paid for mine. I'm not on 10,000.
You get paid for yours? Who pays you?
Instagram.
What?
Yeah, just recently, like 2 weeks ago. No, about a week ago.
All right,
the 12th.
I need to hit
the 12th. About 2 weeks ago, I started getting paid for it. Now I've put out like 10 or 15. I don't know how many reels since then.
Right.
Got thousands and thousands of views. And I checked this morning.
Yeah.
And I made $100.10.
I mean, that's good.
For thousands and thousands of views. Like, you know how many hours I put into these stupid videos to make $100?
I mean, for me, I would cover a couple of hitting lessons for my daughter, so I'm down.
Putting too many hours. I could have used the hours to sell a house. Too many hours. All right. Well, guys, we got to run. We appreciate you guys again. Thanks so much for watching the show. Thanks for interacting. And we will see you next week.
Go watch that reel. Get it over 10,000 views so I can make 84 cents. Please. Thank you.